Welcome again to the old principle. 我就是老校长. And we've come to another lesson. Well, let's take a look at it. This will be lesson number 287. Now I want you to look very carefully at that picture. Okay, you see that there's some fog, 有雾, okay? You see that there is a road. This looks exactly like the place where we will read about in today's story. Okay? So when we come to the wild ride to the hospital, 疯狂的这个开车子到医院去, or sometimes ride just means 坐车呢. But in this case, I was driving. So, you'll hear the story read by my wife, and then after the story, I'll be right back and we'll look at it sentence by sentence. Here is the story.
Story 287, Wild Ride to the Hospital. Oh no! The baby is coming and we are 20 miles away from the hospital. Now I was very nervous. Since Dorothy, our next-door neighbor, was a nurse and since the baby might put in his appearance at any moment, she offered to travel in the car with us. I drove as fast as I could, but as luck would have it, a heavy fog made fast driving very perilous. Even then, at times, I topped 80 miles an hour. Thinking back on it now, it scares the living daylights out of me. I'm glad that there were no policemen out early that morning because we made it into town in record time, breaking the speed limit most of the way. We arrived safely at the hospital and immediately Connie went into full-scale labor. I was in a separate waiting room, pacing the floor and wondering what was happening. Because Connie had carefully exercised as her doctor prescribed, the baby came too quickly. In fact, her labor was so quick that the doctor didn't even make it in time, and a local hospital physician did this delivery. It is always an emotional moment for young parents to bring a new life into the world. When the doctor announced to me that I was the father of a young son, I was speechless, overcome with emotion. Some hours later, we called my parents to tell them the good news. My father was especially pleased because our young son was named after him. Or was he? My grandfather, my father, and myself all have the same name, John William Ashe. The only difference is Senior, or SR, Junior, JR, and 3, the third, tacked on behind our names. So, who was the young baby named after? That's a good question. At any rate, the little baby was named John William Ashe IV. After a few days in the hospital, Connie and baby John came home.
Welcome back. Today's story begins, oh no, 哎呀不好. Okay, I guess that's the way we would say it in Chinese, 哎呀不好. Oh no, the baby is coming and we are 20 miles away from the hospital. The baby is coming. 要生产. And we are 20 miles away from the hospital, which means we are 36 kilometers away from the hospital. 离医院这么远的路, okay? Now I was nervous. Okay, I wasn't nervous earlier in the morning. In fact, if you'll remember, I said, just turn over, go back to sleep. I said that at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, go back to sleep. 6 o'clock, by 6 o'clock, she said, I think the baby is coming. And of course, we went through this story. Now, for sure, the baby is coming. And I was 特别紧张 going on. Since Dorothy, our next door neighbor, was a nurse, and since the baby might put in his appearance at any moment, okay, now, several things here to keep in mind. Who is our next door neighbor? Well, her name is Dorothy. Dorothy. Our next door 我们的邻居 her name is 她的名字是 Dorothy, and she is a nurse. Okay? And I don't mention it in the story, but she's not only a nurse, 她刚刚下班了. And she was not only just a nurse, but she was also a nurse in the 妇产科. So, I mean, let's face it, she was a very appreciated person. The nurse said that the baby, I can see the baby's head. I can see the baby's head. Quick, go to the hospital. Okay. Now, this is interesting English in that it says might put in his appearance. 或许会 put in his appearance. Another way of saying it, 他会出现 or 他会来到. To put in your appearance means to come. Okay? At any moment. 随时都可以出现. Okay, so now we go on to the next part of the sentence. Going on. She offered to travel in the car with us. Because she already had seen the baby's head, so she said, oh, that baby may come even in the car. So she offered to offer, it says 提供要陪我们去 go with us, travel with us, to go in the car with us. I drove as fast as I could. 我尽快开车子. But as luck would have it, okay, as luck would have it, in English, oh, that's a way of saying as luck would have it, 哎呀，不幸 or 不幸运, okay? So it's not very lucky. There was a heavy fog that made driving very perilous. There was a heavy fog, F-O-G. Fog is, well, if it's heavy fog, it's 浓雾, okay? 浓雾. And it made driving, 使我们开车子的时候，当时开车 very perilous. Perilous is 危险. Perilous. Of course, you could say dangerous, but perilous is the same idea, 危险, perilous. Going on, even at times, even then, 虽然如此, so that it's dangerous to drive, at times I topped, 就超过80英里的速度. How would you, if you say 1 times 1.6. Okay, so that means I was traveling about 130 kilometers an hour. 130 kilometers an hour. Do you know how to figure that out? It takes 1.6 kilometers for every mile. So 1.6 times 80 is 128, or about 130. Okay, now you know how to figure kilometers and miles, okay? In America, we use miles. Thinking back on it now, 我现在回想到那时候, okay, it scares the living daylights out of me. 现在还是吓得我怕死, or 吓得我太厉害. The living daylight, 这个是美国的一个俗语的说法. It just means 吓得我怕死. Okay, it scares the living daylights out of me. 这个很难翻译啊, so don't even try to translate it. Fortunately, because I was driving so fast and there was no policeman around. I don't know where the policemen were, but they weren't around at that time, which is good because 我肯定是超速. I'm glad that there was no policeman out early that morning. See, this is early, okay? 清早, very early in the morning, and I'm glad that there was nobody there because we made it into town. Now, this is strange, isn't it? To make it into town, that means our trip. To make it into town, means our trip. 我们这段这个路程啊, this trip, 开得怎么样? In record time. So 破纪录. At least for me, I'd never driven to town that fast. 真的是破纪录. Okay, so we made it into town in record time. Of course, the baby was coming. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Okay, I was breaking the speed limit most of the way. 几乎全路, 从头到尾, I was breaking the speed limit. 我是超速, I was breaking the speed limit. But no policeman. Normally I don't do that. But I had a baby coming. 快要生产, so man, we were in a hurry going on. We arrived safely, 是平安的到达医院. So we arrived safely at the hospital, and immediately Connie went into full-scale labor. What does it mean to full-scale labor? Okay, it means labor is 分娩或生产的时候. Okay, and she started to going into this full-scale labor. So this is complete. You know, of course, I'm a man, so I don't know much about it, but I've been through this with my wife twice now. To begin with, it's the contractions. The contractions are slow. But when it's full-scale labor, that means the contractions are coming and coming. The baby wants to come out. The baby wants to come out. The baby wants to come out, you see. So that's what full-scale labor is. Now, I was in a separate waiting room, a separate waiting room. I was just waiting there. And like all fathers, I was pacing back and forth. I don't know, it seems to me like This is very typical for American, in Americas. We have a lot of jokes about men when their wife is giving birth to a baby, they're pacing 走来走去, 走来走去. So pacing the floor meaning we're walking back and forth. And I was wondering what was happening. Okay, 我不知道这个发生的是什么事. In other words, I was wondering, 我想知道. I was wondering, hoping to know what was happening. Going on. Because Connie had carefully exercised as her doctor prescribed, the baby came too quickly. That's good news and bad news. The bad news is that I lived so far away from the hospital. The doctor said to my wife, exercise, exercise, and so she did. That's good. So 生产的这段时间 was very short. That's good. The trouble was we were a long, long ways away. So the doctor prescribed. That prescribed, usually we use the word prescribed, 是开药方的, 开药方的. But yeah, the doctor could prescribe exercise. Okay, then you don't have to pay for that. That's free. Okay, baby came too quickly. 这个小孩子来得太快. Go ahead. In fact, her labor was so quick that the doctor didn't even make it in time, and the local hospital physician did the delivery. Okay. 事实上, the labor, 它生产或分娩这段的是太短，而且是太快. So the doctor, who lived quite a ways away, he didn't make it in time. What does that mean? He didn't even make it in time. 赶不到，他自己也赶不到，这医生赶不到。Fortunately, the local hospital physician did the delivery. Okay, 接生的是谁？是当地医院的一位医生啊。So a doctor, a local doctor, did the delivery and helped the baby to come out. Delivery meaning that 接生, okay, he was helping the baby to come out. Going on, it's always an emotional moment for young parents to bring a new life into the world. Emotional moment, 时刻是感受很重，这个时刻是这个感受是很重。Okay, it's an emotional moment for young parents. 年轻的夫妇. We were both, how old were we? We were both 26 years old. We were 26 years old. And we are to bring a new life, 新的生命来到这个世界. So the birth of a new child is an emotional moment. Going on. When the doctor announced to me that I was a father of a young son, you see, nowadays you can often know ahead of time whether it's going to be a boy or a girl. But we didn't know. We didn't know whether it would be a boy or a girl. When the doctor announced to me, 宣布 that I was a father of a young son, 我是爸爸呢, of a son, 儿子, okay? I was speechless, overcome with emotion. Here's this word emotion again. Was speechless. I could not talk. Maybe I opened my mouth, but even if you open your mouth, nothing comes out. I was overcome by emotion, speechless. Okay, overcome by emotion, 这个感受实在是太浓太重. And so I just couldn't speak. Going on. Some hours later, we called my parents to tell them the good news. 过了几个小时之后, we called my parents to tell them the good news. 好消息. Going on. My father was especially pleased because our young son was named after him. Or was he? Okay. My father was especially pleased because our young son was named after him. 是按照他的姓名是同一样，就是一样. In other words, he had the same name as my father. But then I asked the question, or was he? So now I will explain something that's unique to our family. Going on. My grandfather, my father, and myself all have the name John William Ash. And of course, the baby now is John William Ash. A fourth one. Going on. The only difference is senior, junior, and a third tacked on behind our names. For instance, senior often has 老大的意思, but senior would be 第一世, okay? Junior, 第二世, and of course 3, 第三世. Okay, 加在我们的名字后面. So I am John W. Ash III. Okay, going on. So who was the baby named after? That, my friend, is a good question. At any rate, the little baby was named John William Ash the Fourth. 第四世. And his father, his grandfather, and his great grandfather were also named John Ash. Going on. After a few days in the hospital, Connie and the baby John, came home. So, few days in the hospital, and then the two of them came to our home. Going on. Now, go ahead, please. After a few days in the hospital, Connie and baby John came home. Well, I guess that's the end of what we have today. I think every parent struggles with when and where they will give birth to their children and how they're going to do it. In my case, or in my son's case, this would be John William Ash IV, okay? My son's case, their first child was born at home. That's right. They did not go to a hospital. They asked a midwife, 解剖生, okay, the midwife to come. She was a nurse, 是一种护士, and she came to their home, and the baby was born in their home. So this is, nowadays there are many choices. Back then, there were no choices. In fact, everyone has to make a decision on how and where. By the way, I should tell you that my grandson is named John Ash the fifth. So we had John Ash Sr. and Jr., the first, the second. I'm the third. My son is the fourth. And now my grandson is the fifth. So this is, I think this comes from English tradition, 英国人的传统. Even though I'm an American, my grandfather came from England. So that's the story of the birth of our son and some of the interesting things. A wild ride, 疯狂地去医院 as I was driving that car. Okay. Our email address is theoldprinciple@gmail.com. And our website is www.theoldprinciple.org. With that, all I can say is thanks for joining us, and I hope that you will be with us next time as we look at another interesting story from Lao Xiaozhang. Until then, bye-bye.